I've Run My Course by Nicola Winters. This is a continuation of Not Quite Yet. Chapter 1. The door is shut behind me as I walked out towards the school that has grown so familiar to me. What was supposed to be a quiet walk ended up making the day seem like it was meant to annoy me. I walked quietly to school, deep in thought about last night and part of this morning in which they threw a glass at me. The walk felt longer than normal, but most of my steps started feeling softer than they were supposed to be, making me have to look down at my feet. God damn it. I literally stepped into this wet concrete they just poured. When I tried to move and get out of the concrete, I hit myself in the head with a branch from a low-hanging tree and felt the branch get caught in my hair in many different places, with one or two more branches getting caught and breaking into pieces in there. While trying to get out of the construction area, I ran into a fence, annoying me even further. A headache was already forming this morning as I trudged my way to school, taking longer to get there due to the needing to remove the concrete from my shoes and spray them off before having to leave them on my porch. I had to go back inside to collect a new pair of socks and a new pair of shoes that I changed into. After changing into my clothes, I had to rush to school that I was already about 15 minutes late for. I soon opened the door with all the sets of eyes looking over at me, except for Miss Mavis. "Oh, Gabriel, how nice of you to join," she said, turning around and pausing in her sentence. "What happened?" "I stepped on wet concrete and need help getting stuff out of my hair," said, rubbing the back of my head a bit. "May I borrow Victor for a while? I'll make sure we come back as soon as we can." Miss Mavis just nodded and watched Victor walk up to me before we left. "Gabriel, how in the hell are you so calm about this?" he asked quietly, but shocked about how many leaves and sticks were in my hair, and something to do with my right cheek. I'll live. It's rather normal, but honestly, it's not too bad. So don't worry about it," I lied, trying to hide the annoyance in the world. "Let's get you cleaned up, and you will be changing. Do you understand?" he asked, giving me the look of I don't have a choice. "Of course, Lucy," said, looking towards the ground while walking to the bathroom that I have been seeing more than I normally would in a whole year, just in the past 2 weeks. "Lucy? Do I really look that feminine?" I asked, not able to focus on anything other than the comments made by my parents, who have been comparing me to a girl. There was a light burning from him cleaning cuts after taking all the leaves out of my hair. "Why does it matter?" "Sure, you're feminine, but it doesn't matter, because you are who you are," Victor said, wrapping my arms in bandages. "I swear you are a bad luck magnet with how this has been going." "I guess I am in a way," I said with a small, sad smile. "It's not my fault that they never trimmed the trees, and there were no obvious signs of construction. Your cheek has a small cut, idiot. You need to be more careful," Victor said with a small laugh as he rubbed rubbing alcohol to cleanse the cut on my cheek. After a while, he handed me a pair of clothes that lacked the annoying dust lines that were all over my other set of clothes. "Go get that disgusting dust off," He was laughing at the dust and concrete powder I couldn't remove off my clothes, which were almost black and dark colors. I went and got changed into the outfit Victor gave me. After getting changed, I realized that this was a shirt from a band that I didn't recognize. Surprisingly, the logo was easily hidden by a brown hoodie. The hoodie over my eye, or the bandage over my eye, reflected in the mirror with a sort of glow from the light reflecting off it. Oh, maybe that's why Miss Mavis seemed surprised when she saw me, especially with the leaves and dirt on me. That probably didn't help the situation. I couldn't help but let out a small laugh at my reflection, imagining how dumb I must have looked when I first got to school that day. You seem to be in a good mood today. Surprisingly, I guess. I must have looked ridiculous this morning, I said, laughing. Why don't we head to class? Probably for the best, so that Miss Mavis doesn't kill us both, Victor said, slapping me back like you do with your friends. After a moment, he realized what he did and was apologizing about it. Gabriel, I'm so sorry. I wasn't I placed my hand on his head and said, Don't worry about it. I miss being this way, like we used to. Why don't we keep it this way? He seemed shocked, but after a moment, a smile spread across his face, like we were kids again, and he jumped onto me, hugging me. I let him be for a while before I said, I'm sorry to have to break this off, but we still have class. Oh shit, sorry, he said nervously. We soon rushed off to class to make it there during the working period. Hey, Gabriel. One moment, please, Miss Mavis said when I attempted to go sit in my area. After I got to her desk, she dragged me out to the hallway to talk more privately, setting off my anxiety. Gabriel, is everything all right at home? Yeah, it's all fine. I just got into some trouble with some people in school and we had a small disagreement, is all. I lied, looking her in the eyes. A small disagreement doesn't lead to your eyes being covered in bandages. I'm going to have to report this either way, but please tell someone what's going on. We're all here to help however we can, she said quietly, looking really worried. Don't worry about it. There's nothing wrong, so please don't worry about it, I said with a smile. Is your eye the reason why you weren't in school, Fredder? I was shocked by her question, but soon replied, No, I was just sick. She didn't seem to believe me, but she wasn't going to push either. If you want a better explanation, me and Lucy could give it to you after class or something, so it's not interrupting, I said finally to her pleading eyes, and she seemed all right with that. Thank you, Gabriel, she said, before leading me back inside before calling Victor up. Victor, please come up here. Victor gave a questioning look till he realized how I was acting, giving him a hint of what was going on. May I ask that you stay after class with Gabriel, please? Sure. But may I ask why? Yes, looking at me. I have some questions, and Gabriel requested you to be there for the answers, Miss Mavis said, quietly to Victor before Victor looked over at me, worried. Yeah, I can stay, he said, coming closer to me, considering what to say or do. Lucy, come on. What happened to your light and airy personality? You know, what happened to your light and airy personality you normally have? He said, giving him a bit of a challenging look to try to make things feel better. To turn the sour start to a great day with my bestie. After a while, he calmed down a bit, and we talked and had conversations almost as fluffy as he once was. Soon we found that the school bell ringing and the anxiety I was feeling was back. And Victor seemed almost as anxious as I found myself. Our classmates stared at us as they left the classroom, seeming curious over what was going on. Gabriel, how about we start with what happened with your eye? She said, after everyone left. Well, some people jumped me on Thursday and stabbed me in the eye. Victor helped disinfect it and patch it up, I said, after taking out a chair from the desk near hers. Victor took out another chair and sat next to me as well. Please tell us who they were. To be honest, we don't have any clue who they were, but you can find them on the camera in the courtyard that day, Victor said quietly, shocking Miss Mavis with the information that he was there as well. I couldn't stop them. My intervention led to his eye being gone. I'll talk to them about it then, she said, moving towards her desk and taking a seat. What did your parents do when they found out about your eye being gone? I sat there silently for a moment before Victor said, they didn't notice his eye at all. To be honest, they were busy, I lied, looking away from Victor, trying to get him to lie with me about my parents. Oh, you mean when they were busy abusing you? Or when they are having their spats? Victor, please. They even hit you, leaving a noticeable bruise on your cheek about a day or two before that happened, Victor said, mad at my parents before he realized he was revealing too much. Gabriel, how long has this been going on? As in the stuff Victor's talking about, Miss Mavis said, seeming lost in thought. It's been since as long as I remember, I mumbled, hitting that I agreed to do this. After a while, Miss Mavis finally said, I'm going to have to report this to CBS. I'm going to send you to the nurse's office to get checked over and pictures for the case. Please do this for your sake and don't fight it, she said. Letting them examine you and get pictures can save you from them. She looked over at Victor to see his reaction, but he didn't seem to have much of one. Victor, please go with him and make him comfortable. Yes, Miss Mavis, he said, placing his hand on my shoulder. I'll let your teachers know what happened and where you are, she said, standing up and releasing us. Yes, ma'am, Victor said, grabbing my hand and helping me up. Let's get you to the nurse. I followed him reluctantly to the nurse, not sure what to do. Lucy, I I started quietly, finally feeling the pressure of everyone's eyes being on me. I don't want to do this. Please. I'm sorry, Gabe, but I don't have much of a choice on this. I'm sorry for telling her about your parents, Victor said, quietly standing still for a moment. It'll be all right, I hope. After a moment, we decided to continue our way to the nurse's office. All I could do was hope that Sylvia's family was still on vacation, but they were back from what I saw when we got to the nurse. Oh, I never thought I'd see you two here, she started to say, though she turned around and saw my eye. Gabriel, what could have happened during the 1 week we were on vacation? Well, he got jumped and had his eyes stabbed out with a knife, Victor said nervously to Miss Zilla. What brings you here today? We got sent here for an evaluation, said quietly, trying to hide behind Victor. Gabe, it will be all right, Victor said, looking at me. I will be here the entire time. There's nothing to be scared of. Do you promise? I promise, he said before I came out from behind him. The evaluation was pretty normal, but Miss Zilla seemed shocked when she saw all my scars and the crimson mess I made last week. It took 2 hours to get through all the filing, and entire evaluation. After she got the pictures she needed, I went and sat next to Victor after putting my shirt and hoodie back on. I started to lay my head on Victor without him saying a word about it. See, everything turned out fine, he said, placing a hand on my left shoulder and bringing me into a side hug and letting me lean my head on him the entire time. Gabriel, may I get more details on what happened in your house? What happens in your house? Miss Zilla asked before looking over at us. Victor, I may need you to leave while he tells me about it all. I felt my anxiety take hold of my chest while crushing it slowly before Victor asked me, Do you want me to leave? No, I stuttered, feeling pain as I struggled to breathe. Please, don't leave. Closed my eyes, hugging Victor, placing my head into the crook of his shoulder. I guess he can stay if it makes it easier for you to talk about it. Thank you for allowing this, Miss Zilla, Victor said, turning a bit to give me a full hug. Hey, breathe. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. After a while, I calmed down enough to talk. For an hour, we talked about what happened, and I didn't see Victor go. Almost the entire time. That should be all that I need. Maybe you should go talk to Mr. Ashton a bit, she said, typing a bit. Who's Mr. Ashton? I asked, a bit confused. He's the school counselor, I heard Sylvia chirp from the doorway. making me let go of Victor and put a bit of distance between the two of us. I guess that you guys have been... I see that you guys have been here. You had me worried for a while. What even happened to you guys to be here with Mom for who knows how long? We don't want to talk about it, Victor said, looking at me before putting his arm back around me as he moved closer to me. Sylvia came into her office, and when she looked over at me, she seemed to let out a quiet but audible verbal indication of surprise. Oh my... Gabriel, what happened? She asked a bit loudly, coming close to me, reaching towards my face. I don't want to talk about it, I said quietly. Please get out of my face. But your eye doesn't look too good. What even happened to cause this? She asked, ignoring my request that she would get out of my face. Sylvia, get out of his face, please. You need space right now, Victor said a bit coldly. If he needs space, then why are you not giving him any? She asked. He's not in my face, and I've known him for about 12 years, I said quietly, laying my head on him again. I think we're about to head out to do something. We had something important to do, so that we may be in class at some point today, Victor said, standing up and helping me up to my feet. I wish we had more time to talk, but we'll talk to you later. We started to walk out, and as I tried to walk out, I felt Sylvia grab my wrist, stopping me. There was a sharp pain ringing through my arm from her long nails pushing into them, reopening the wound and making me cry out in pain a bit. Sylvia, please, let me go, I said, pulling a bit, trying to get out of her grip, before feeling it dig deeper into my wounds. Please, just tell me what happened to your eye, she asked, being a bit loud. Sylvia, he said. He'd tell you later, Victor said, a bit upset. You're hurting him. You haven't been listening to him when he asked you not to do certain things. Please just leave us alone for a while. She let me go, and I fell towards Victor a bit before regaining balance. I'm sorry for having to be so harsh, but I couldn't get you to stop without being a bit harsh. I felt my arms bleeding and a bit of dizziness take hold. Sylvia looked a bit dejected as we turned away and walked into the hallway. As we walked down the hallway, I grew a bit more dizzy. Victor, could we sit down for a moment? I asked. He looked at me, and after a moment he nodded and sat down with me. Did she? All I could do was nod before I leaned my head on Victor for a moment, trying to get rid of the feeling of dizziness. After 15 minutes, the hallway became crowded again, with people staring at us as they passed with Lydo, breaking off and finding a place beside me. I could feel the glare Victor was giving Lydo from behind me as I turned towards him a bit. I see you're back in school, but you haven't been in class all day. Is everything all right? Lydo asked, giving me a worried look. Yeah, we are doing fine. We've been busy today, I said quietly, not wanting to discuss what has made us so busy. I heard that it has something to do with the bandage on your eye, and heard something about your wrists apparently having signs of abuse. Lydo said as if it is a normal topic to talk about. I sat there silent as I could feel Victor's anger boiling under his skin. I wouldn't know anything about that, I said, placing a hand on Victor's hand to try to calm him down some. Tell them to get out of our business, Victor said, trying not to yell. Why do they even care now when he's been bullied for a long time and been in an abusive environment for almost his entire life? He's what? Ignore him, please. I'd much rather not be discussing this right now, I said quietly. I'm sorry, but you should probably be heading to class, and we should be heading to where we need to go. I stood up and helped Victor to his feet before walking away, hearing Lydo stand up after a moment of silence. Sorry, Victor, I said quietly, walking towards Mr. Ashton's room. I'm sorry, too. He was just getting on my nerves. He just gets on my nerves each time that I see him, Victor said loosely, after his anger lessened. We stood outside his door for a moment before knocking on it. He opened the door and saw us, but didn't seem surprised to see me. Oh, there you are, Gabriel. Please come in, said, inviting me into his office. Victor followed me in, being surprised at how he wasn't shocked to see me there, and at the setup of the office. I take this to be Victor. Wait, you talked to him about me? He asked, a bit confused, before sitting down on the couch. I went over and sat down with him as Mr. Ashton sat down as well across from us. No, he doesn't. I had to review the security tape and was told by Miss Mavis and Miss Zilla that you both would be paying me a visit, he said with a small smile before getting serious. The video I had watched kind of surprised me. It was like you lost the will to fight them off. Victor tried to help, but I guess it was too late, he said, looking me in the eye. I'm sorry that we didn't know anything. We'll set up some precautions to keep you safe while in our care. May I get more information about what happened? Depends on when, I said, a bit confused. How about we start with what happened on Thursday and then work from there? I leaned on Victor before I said, it was a pretty normal day. The night before I was with Victor for a sleepover. That morning I got dressed, ate, and walked with Victor to school. We went to class and were talking before I had to use the restroom. I went to the restroom and got grabbed before being dragged into the courtyard. They held me still and were, I guess, giving me their version of threats. But I wouldn't say they were threats, per se. Victor came out when I was gone longer than normal and saw them holding me. They got scared when he showed up and flinched, stabbing me in the eye. When they stabbed me in the eye, they were freaking out and let me go. I decided to go straight home with Victor, visiting me later and helping me disinfect my wound. And I just didn't feel too good on Friday, so Victor got to my work for my classes while I stayed home and rested. On Saturday, I did catch up on work and slept. Because I still wasn't doing the best. Till Victor came over and hung out with me for a while. We went on a walk in the park and we went back to my house. Sunday was just writing, drawing, and sleeping for the most part, till it was nighttime, where I enjoyed nature for an hour or two before going to bed. I said with a shrug. Victor contemplated telling him the bits I left out, but decided that it would be alright to let me share what I was comfortable with, and there was no one making him angry or pushing for the information. I want to ask what happened today. Yes, before looking at my sleeve, giving me a look to tell me that. Giving me a look to tell me more about it. I looked down at my sleeve and realized they bled through the bandage and a bit through my sleeve. Well, I got up and went to school, but was late due to stepping on wet concrete, and running into tree branches. I got to class, had Victor help me get the leaves out of my hair, and get the concrete as washed up as possible. We went back and got into a talk with Miss Mavis and got sent to Mozilla, then ended up here. What about your wrists? He asked, pointing at them. I saw pictures of your arms, so please tell me about them. I'm uncomfortable talking about this, I said quietly. Please at least answer this. Was it from you or someone else? No comment. Alright. Is there anything you'd like to talk about? Mr. Ashton asked before I shook my head. Victor, do you have anything to add? No, sir. Then you guys may head back to class. It should be 6 o'clock? Thank you. I said, standing up with Victor and walking out of Mr. Ashton's office. Me and Victor were quiet for a while we walked down the hall in our 6th block class. Walked in, and everyone seemed to focus on me before Victor stood between our peers and me to avert their eyes. As Mr. Bardot tried to get them back to making art. Sylvia still seemed focused on us as we went to our table in the back of the classroom and sat down. After everyone reverted focus to the project, Mr. Bardot came to us to make sure I was alright. He explained our newest project, which was to create a papier-mâché creature. As I was finishing my skeleton for my dragon, Sylvia came over, sitting next to me. The project was pretty easy, and we still had 40 minutes. Hey, Gabriel. How are you feeling? She asked, touching my head. Please stop touching my head, I said, taking some tissue paper and dipping it in glue, making sure not to get my hand covered in the glue. She moved over her hand off my head into my shoulder, looking over it by leaning over me. I looked over at where she was looking, and before I could register that she saw the blood on my sleeve, she grabbed my hand and pulled it towards her. Almost anyone at this point would be yelling at her. But I stayed quiet. "What's this?" she asked, pulling my sleeve down. "Sylvia, there's nothing for you to worry about. Now please stop messing with me and touching me," said, pulling my arm away, before she could see more than the little bit of bandages on my hand that led to the rest of the arm. "She's a great person, but doesn't know boundaries and has a lot of energy. She's normally all over Victor, which means there's something that doesn't exactly look right to her, other than the eye bandage." She went to my left arm and grabbed it again, to roll the sleeve down. Before I could stop her, she got it rolled up and saw the bloody mess that made it through the bandages. Let out a quiet screech. Everyone's eyes flickered over to our table as I moved my arm to where my body could hide it, before recovering my arm with the sleeve. "What on earth happened to your arm?" "We will discuss this later. Now please stop making such a scene," said, pushing her to a comfortable distance away from me. Victor looked at me, seeming surprised with how calm I was before standing up. I'm going to hang out with Sylvia for the class period so she gets off you. I'll see you after school, alright?" Victor said, placing a hand on my head. Alright. I guess I'll see you after school," said, feeling him take his hand off my head. Walk away, leaving me to sit here by myself. While he was hanging out with Sylvia, I focused on making the base layer that I was going to paint the details on tomorrow. I had a good amount of different colors of tissue paper that would make a light but nice transition from black to white. I started at the tail, working with all the light colors, with me finishing with the head being a dark beetle black, and the small details in the ears and on the snoot and wings were in white. The horns were also made of white details. I had the entire body made with 2 minutes to spare till the bell. 7th block was easy, and while the bell rang, I found myself as a teacher aide to an English class. When I got into the classroom, I decorated it for Valentine's Day with splashes of pink, red, and white. With splashes of pink, red, and white, which were everywhere in the room, with red and pink banners to hearts hanging from the ceiling. Soon 7th block ended, and there was time to go home. I walked out of the school, and I waited for Victor. By Victor and I's normal spot, where we meet up at to go home. After 10 minutes passed, I decided to just start walking home. I didn't have any clue what happened next. Then I saw black. Little did I know that would be the last time I hung out with Victor.